Hey everybody, James from OnType here, and today we're talking about the 16 personality types egos. So what is an ego? An ego is the first 4 functions in a personality type's cognitive function stack. The 8 cognitive functions were discovered by Dr. John Beebe and describe how we perceive and judge the world. Each of the 16 personality types have a different order of these 8 functions, and the ego just describes the first 4 functions in that stack. The first 4 functions of a personality type are used with more optimism and confidence as opposed to the other 4. First, we have an INFJ's Ego. Their first function is introverted intuition in the hero slot. This means that they're very heroic with their goals, their plans, their hopes, and their desires. They have a very optimistic look at what they want. They're very decisive. They know what they're doing 10 steps ahead, and they kind of use this function as a way to decide where they're going, decide who they want to be. They're very optimistic with what they want. They know their goals. They know where they're going. And INFJs use this introverted intuition hero to always have a plan. Next in the parent slot is extroverted feeling. Extroverted feeling parent cares about how others feel and is responsible with other people's feelings and their own ethical judgments. INFJs try to make sure that they're always being kind to others, that they're not harming others, and this is really where their responsibility lies. Then we have introverted thinking in the child slot. This function is really pure with its thinking and its logical deductions. INFJs have a very innocent view of what is true and what they think, and they're very optimistic with what they know to be true. They can use this to tell the truth to others or think deductively in their own head and try to have an inner sense of truth to the world. An INFJ's fourth function is extroverted sensing, and here they aspire with their performance and their ability to give others good experiences. An INFJ looks to aspire to giving others experiences, and they look to be the center of attention, have their skills on display, and overall make an impact and have their voice heard. Next, we have INFPs, who have introverted feeling in their hero slot. This function is expressed with heroicism towards their morals and their sympathy, and they look to always sympathize with others, to relate to others, and just generally have very good moral reasoning. This function is used primarily to create their moral code and know how they feel about everything in their life. Next in the parent slot is their extroverted intuition, and this function is very responsible with what other people want and the potential consequences of their actions. This function makes sure that other people aren't choosing the wrong things, that other people aren't headed to destruction, and they overall have a very responsible view of where other people are headed and what other people want in their life. This function is used to warn other people of potential consequences, to see where everyone else is going, and it's able to kind of predict the future for others. Then we have introverted sensing in the child slot. This function is expressed with a pure disposition towards their health, their needs, their comfort, and their loyalties to others. An INFP's fourth function is their extroverted thinking, and this function aspires to be rational. It aspires to have very strong beliefs, and it uses resources and research to do this. Next, we have INTPs. An INTP's first function is their introverted thinking hero. This function is expressed heroically towards their thinking, towards their deductions, and towards their logical view of the world. INTPs can use their introverted thinking to deduct things, to make sense of things, and to figure out what is true. Next in the parent slot is extroverted intuition. INTPs use extroverted intuition to be responsible with what other people want and where other people are going. Just like INFPs, they can see where other people are going, see the potential consequences, and try to warn them. INTPs kind of use that extroverted intuition with their introverted thinking, and they can try to be very honest and try to figure out the truth of where other people are going in order to help them. Then we have introverted sensing in the child slot. INTPs are very innocent with what they need, and they're very innocent with what experiences they want and have. This function is used to find their duty, find what they need to do, and to follow it with an obligation. Next, we have an INTP's fourth function, which is extroverted feeling, and this function aspires to be very ethical and to help other people feel better. This function looks to be generous to others, to be kind to others, and just to overall make a social impact that is positive. When an INTP practices this fourth function, they can become very ethical and helpful. They can use their thinking, their predictions, and their obligations to end up making a positive impact on the world. Next, we have INTJs. An INTJ's first function is their introverted intuition hero. INTJs are very heroic with what they want and what they decide, and they can use this to really make a positive impact on the world. INTJs are super optimistic with their desires and their passions, and they can often follow these paths with a fiery disposition, and they can be very tenacious and have a lot of willpower. Next in the parent slot, INTJs have extroverted thinking, and they can be very responsible with what other people think and what other people know. They use this extroverted thinking to make sure that other people are being intelligent and that other people are thinking things through. Next, we have introverted feeling as their child function, and this function is very pure with its feelings and its morals. INTJs can have a very positive outlook on how they feel, and they can have a lot of sympathy and love for others. An INTJ's fourth function is their extroverted sensing, and this function aspires to be very performative and to practice its talents in a way where it can master them. When an INTJ masters these talents, they can show it off, they can help other people, and they can use this to take care of other people's needs. Next, we have ENTPs. An ENTP's first function is their extroverted intuition hero. This function is expressed heroically towards what other people want, their ability to inspire others, and their ability to predict where things are going. They use this function to try to see where things are headed and to inspire others to a joint goal. And in their parent slot is their introverted thinking parent, and this function is responsible towards what it thinks and its ability to tell the truth. This function looks to be very deductive and logical, and it looks to make sure it's being responsible and that it's not just thinking anything without verifying it multiple times. Next, we have extroverted feeling in the child slot. This function is innocent towards its ability to make others feel good and its own compassion. ENTPs often use this compassion to fight for justice and fairness, and they can really care about making a positive impact on others. An ENTP's fourth function is their introverted sensing aspirational, and they use this to aspire towards being dutiful, being organized, and taking care of their health. An ENTP who aspires can be very disciplined, they can be very dutiful, they can be loyal to a bigger cause, and they can use their obligations to endure for something bigger than them. Next, we have ENFPs. An ENFP's first function is their extroverted intuition hero, and they use this function to be very heroic towards what other people's goals are and their ability to see where other people are headed. Just like an ENTP, they can often motivate and inspire others towards what they want, and they can really help give a group an ability to have ambition and planning and set their goals. In their parent slot, ENFPs have introverted feeling, and this function is responsible with how it feels about itself and its own self-worth and morals. ENFPs look to have strong self-worth, but they also look to be balanced and see both the good and the bad. Then we have their extroverted thinking in the child slot, and this function is very pure with its beliefs and its ability to be rational. ENFPs are very believing of others, and they like to listen to others, learn from them, and have a lot of resources. ENFPs can use this intellectual curiosity to learn a lot, and they can end up having a lot of knowledge on many different subjects. An ENFP's fourth function is their introverted sensing, and this function is very aspirational with its loyalty and its duties. Just like an ENTP, they really look to be organized, they look to have their life put together and to be able to endure things and be very strong. When they're able to aspire, ENFPs can use their introverted feeling and their extroverted intuition to advocate for others and be loyal to their causes, and they can really fight for positive change in the world. Next, we have ENFJs. An ENFJ's first function is their extroverted feeling hero, and this function is really heroic towards its compassion and its ability to be empathetic to others. ENFJs look to be very giving to others, and they look to use their fairness and their ability to look for justice to help other people. Then we have their introverted intuition in their parent slot. This function is expressed with responsibility towards what they want and what they desire. ENFJs can be very hard workers, they can always look into the future and plan ahead, and they're always looking to be diligent and responsible. Their child function is extroverted sensing, and it's very pure with the experiences they give others and their ability to make others healthy and comfortable. ENFJs look to make sure that other people are having good experiences and that other people have what they need, and if they don't, an ENFJ will make sure to give it to them. Their fourth function is their introverted thinking, and it's expressed aspirationally towards their ability to be intelligent and logical. An ENFJ looks to build confidence with their thinking, and when they spend a lot of time alone, they can have very logical deductions, which can add to people's health and happiness. Next, we have an ENTJ's Ego. Their first function is extroverted thinking in the hero slot. This function is expressed heroically towards its beliefs and its ability to know what others think. This function is very aware of power dynamics and finances and their ability to succeed in the world and be respected by others. Their parent function of introverted intuition helps them plan their course and be very ambitious with their achievements and their desire to be thought of highly. This function is very tenacious and will keep moving towards its objectives. Then we have their extroverted sensing in the child function. This function is expressed with purity towards their ability to make others comfortable and give them a good experience. And just like an ENFJ, ENTJs look to make others laugh, look to give them good experiences, and are very selfless with this. Their fourth function, being introverted feeling, aspires to be very moral and sympathetic and looks to draw upon its own feelings. When confident with this, they can have very strong principles and look to sympathize and give to others. Next, we have an ISFP's Ego, and their first function is introverted feeling. This function is very heroic with how they feel about themselves and how they feel about others, and their ability to give gratitude and appreciation. This function is how they first look at the world, and they try to make sure that everything they're doing aligns with their moral compass. If it doesn't and they feel bad about it, then they're probably just not going to do it. Next, we have their extroverted sensing parent, which is very responsible with their ability to give others good experiences and not make others uncomfortable. They look to build other people up, give them strength, and also make sure that they're comfortable and safe. Then we have their introverted intuition child, and this function is very pure with what they want and where they're headed. ISFPs are very creative and diligent and look to plan out their course and make sure they know where they're going. They're able to use this in conjunction with their extroverted thinking aspirational, which really just aspires to be rational, it aspires to listen to others, and it aspires to know what others think. They can use this function to have a very good worldview and be very rational with their beliefs. They can listen to what everyone knows, and they can make decisions based on this rationale. Next, we have an ISTP's Ego, and their first function is their introverted thinking hero. An ISTP can use their thinking to be very deductive and logical about their environment and really figure out what they know internally. They can use their thinking and their extroverted sensing to move things around, to figure out where things should go, and to overall create something in the physical realm. They use their introverted intuition child to be very pure with their goals, very pure with their intentions, and they can use this to have very good will towards others. With their extroverted feeling in the fourth slot, they can be very aspirational towards their ability to help others and make others feel good, and they can have a lot of goodwill towards these people and always make sure that they're helping them and they're impacting them positively. Next, we have an ISFJ's Ego. They have introverted sensing in their hero slot, and they're very heroic with their duties, their obligations, and what they should do. They use these duties and obligations to be very loyal to the people in their life and always support those traditional institutions. They're very responsible with how others feel, and they always look to avoid conflict and use diplomacy. They use their introverted thinking to be very pure with their thinking and logic, and they can be very respectful to others. They have extroverted intuition in their fourth function, and they're very aspirational with their ability to give others what they want and make sure that others have a good future. Next, we have an ISTJ's Ego. Their first function is introverted sensing as well, and they're very heroic with their duty and their ability to be strong internally. An ISTJ uses this function to be very dutiful towards the institutions and make sure that they're upholding rules and regulations. They use their extroverted thinking to be very responsible with the rules and make sure that they're following and enforcing them. But they also have that introverted feeling in the child slot, which is really innocent with how they feel about themselves and their own morals and judgments. They can use this moral reasoning to make sure that their principles are very strong. They can use their past and their memories with their introverted sensing to fuel their predictions for the future with their extroverted intuition. They're very aspirational with their ability to predict what's going to happen, and they can try to foresee the future for others. Next, we have an ESTP's Ego. ESTPs have extroverted sensing as their first function, and they're very heroic with the ability to give others experiences and their own talents and skills. An ESTP is very talented, they're very performative, and they like to impact others in a way which makes them stronger or better. They have their introverted thinking in the parent slot, which is very responsible with what they know and what they think, and they can use this intelligence to help others as well. Their extroverted feeling in the child slot is very innocent and pure with how others feel, and they can look to make sure they're being generous and selfless for others. This fuels their goodwill with their introverted intuition, and they can use this function to aspire to make good choices, to pursue their passions, and always know what they want. Then we have an ESTJ's ego. ESTJs have extroverted thinking in the hero slot and looks to be very heroic with what others know and their ability to be rational and reputable. ESTJs look to change others' minds and learn from them as they can develop their beliefs by knowing what others think. They use their introverted sensing in the parent slot to be very responsible with who they put their faith into, and they can be very strong with their own beliefs when they have experience with them. They use this function to be really responsible with what their duties are and who they put their faith into. They use their extroverted intuition child to be very pure with their predictions and their ability to see the future. They can be very optimistic about what will happen, and they can have a very positive view of a joint plan. They're very aspirational with their feelings and morals, and they look to be very grateful towards the world with their introverted feeling. Next, we have an ESFP's ego. An ESFP has extroverted sensing as their first function, and they look to be very heroic with their skills and their ability to impact the world positively. ESFPs can use this function to be very entertaining, to make other people laugh, and overall just host and give a positive experience to others. However, they can be very responsible when it comes to their own morals and sympathies, and they look to be very grateful and make sure they're always being appreciative to those in their life. They use their extroverted thinking child to really believe in others and always want to know what other people think. Their introverted intuition aspirational looks to be very brave and courageous and looks to find out where its passions should lie. Next, we have an ESFJ. Their first function is their extroverted feeling, and they look to be very compassionate towards others. They're very heroic with their ability to make others happy, and they look to do this. Their parent slot is their introverted sensing, and they look to be dutiful and loyal to others. Their extroverted intuition in the child slot looks to make predictions and see where things are going and be very optimistic about what will happen. Their introverted thinking in the aspirational slot aspires to be intelligent, aspires to tell the truth, and they can be very honest and forthright when they do so. So I hope this explains a little bit about the 16 personality types egos, and if you want to join the OnType team, then you can subscribe down below. Have a great day.